Hi loves. So I've been wanting to make this video for a while now and waiting for the perfect conditions to do it, and it doesn't seem like it's ever going to happen, so bear with me. I hope this is good enough quality to get the message out there. So this little story is part of my true story, and this little piece is called The Doctor's Visit. The doctor's visit I refer to is back in 2015 when I left my first husband and went through a lot of heartbreak and pain and suicidal thoughts and attempts, actually. Yeah, it's funny now. It's not a laughing matter, believe me. I know it's not. But yes, I did attempt suicide. And I went to see my doctor. I did call out for help. I was like looking for solutions. And I went to see my doctor, and she was like, "You're clinically depressed and we need to get you on antidepressants." And of course I had lots of questions for her, and I was really resistant to the word depressed because for me I was like really clear, I'm heartbroken. And I felt like depressed was a word that was used so easily and loosely, especially in Ireland where I came from. Like, oh my God, it's already Monday, I'm so depressed. Little things like this, but it it just made me feel like my experience and what I was feeling was depressed didn't cut it for me. It didn't come close because that word was used so loosely for so long. And yeah, you can say heartbreak is a form of depression. Okay, that's fine. But for me, it was like, no, I am heartbroken and I was devastated and I felt so lost and so alone and so many other things. So depressed didn't cut it for me. And when I spoke to my doctor and she was like, "Yeah, you need antidepressants and everything like this," I was like, "Well, how long am I before I'm going to feel like myself?" was one of my questions. And she said, "Some years." And I sat there and I was like, "What?" Like my jaw hit the floor. I was kind of like, I can't wait years. Like I was already in this state of desperation of wanting to feel like myself again. Like I have no idea. I felt like I didn't feel like myself anymore. And she tried to backtrack a bit and was like, it could take a little less, but she said some years, and that was her first answer. And she tried to backtrack, but it didn't really, I knew it didn't work with me. My impatience was like, no way, I can't wait that long. And she continued to try and talk about the serotonin levels in my brain and all these different things and why I would need antidepressants, SSRIs, whatever they're called. And she kept focusing on this one brand, and I was like, no, I had heard of a natural one called St. John's wort, and I want that one because I believed it was, I heard and believe, and from my research it's true, that it's easy to just come off it right away, and the antidepressants take years to wean off them. And she kept pushing this one, and I wish I could remember the name of the antidepressant, and she kept pushing it, and the label was all over her desk, her stationery. The name that she was trying to sell me of this, she only wanted to give me this prescription, and that was it. And I couldn't figure out why, and of course it started clicking, like her desk is full of stationery. And later, some years later, I found out like that every person they sign up for these medications, prescriptions, drugs, whatever you want to call them, they get a certain amount of money. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense why she really wouldn't give me the St. John's wort. This is what I want, this is what I believe in. And even somebody like me in that state of desperation, she still wouldn't give it to me. And I still look back and I'm like, I can't believe she done that. I'm still so shocked about that. And really, I left the doctor's office with no prescription. I'm like, I was not going to take them. And as desperate as I was for a solution, I knew this was not a solution for me. I had seen people try and get off them for years and years and could not get off them, or really lose their detachment from even joy in life. Yeah, I don't want to feel suicidal, I don't want to feel shit, but I do still want to feel joy when it naturally comes back. And even though I didn't believe at the time it would, there was obviously some part of me inside that was like, it could come back. I wanted to come back, I wanted to come back. But I was in a complete state of desperation, and I ordered St. John's wort online, because in Ireland you can no longer get them in the chemist, because they caught on that, hey, this can actually be sold for more money and whatever. So you have to get a prescription from your doctor, or you have to order it online. So I ordered it online, I took it for a couple of weeks, and it really helped. And I didn't stay taking it. It may have helped me a bit longer, because I didn't feel so great. I kind of experimented with things. I didn't feel like, oh, I'm healed, I'm great, I'm back to myself. And I knew there was no going back. There's no kind of going back to who I was and how I felt. I was changing. There was such a deep, profound change in who I am, what I am, was happening from this state of pain and darkness and everything. So yeah, the doctor would not give me the prescription I wanted for St. John's wort, which is a natural antidepressant, and I was just, wow, like absolutely devastated. And leaving that office with no solution in mind, no other ideas, and in that state of desperation, was the hardest thing I've ever done, to say no to those drugs, those medications. And I feel like that decision saved my soul, saved my life. Because even I remember more of the questions I asked her, was like, she did say, you can become even more suicidal. And I'm like, I don't think you get where I'm at. Like, I'm like, I've already attempted suicide, and I feel like I could do it again any day now. And you're telling me you're going to give me these tablets and I'm going to be even more suicidal. So that means dead, by the way, to me, because if you're already in a state of attempting suicide and you're going to give me these tablets that are very possibly going to make me feel worse before better, I'm like, worse is dead to me. So does it make sense for me to take these? And she's like, oh no, it does, you'll get past it, it's just for some weeks. I'm like, for just some minutes and some hours, it's hard to stay here on this planet, in this physical body, in the pain I'm in. Do you not get me? And it was so frustrating to not be heard where I was at. It was just crazy. Which brings me into, a second sharing that I will share about when I did actually go to a therapist for help, hoping for some help, that would help. And that was just as bad. Like, really just as bad. I laugh now, but believe me, there's been years of tears about things like that, and there's so much frustration and pain behind all of that. But yeah, I share these, share my experience, my insights and my experience, because there is other ways, there is other methods. I don't know any other particular plant medicine like St. John's wort that is, I don't know anything similar to that right now that could be used. There is other plant allies. I'm like, definitely look into other plants that are medicinal for feeling depressed, suicidal, whatever. There is definitely other plant allies. I can think of some, but I wouldn't be recommending them because I haven't tried them and it wasn't what helped me in the beginning. And I really want to share from my experience and not my beliefs. So yeah, hopefully that helps somebody out there who is really in a bad place and feels like this is not a solution, like going to the doctor, taking these tablets, being on them for years. And people can see now, people are starting to see people who've done it for years now and haven't really got their life back, or haven't got a really amazing life after that. They haven't really got past something. And for me, it was really clear more and more now, like how if it numbs out the bad feelings and the good feelings, and you just stay on this state of numbness, it's just pushing it down. And that's something that you don't want to feel, has to be felt, has to come out. And I'm not saying it needs to be right now and in this moment, and you can take some time, take as much time, but it does eventually have to come out. It has to come out of somewhere, whether you're crying it out, whether you purge it out, whether you dance it out, whether you scream it out, whether whatever, I don't know, whether you walk it out. I ended up on a spontaneous pilgrimage that actually helped me walk it out and let it go, and so many other things. But there was quite a lot of things that helped me to fully let it go, the pain, and transcend that. And yeah, this is the first video of many of where I will share my experience and my journey from darkness into light, from suicidal to absolutely thriving in life and loving life again, and even more than ever. There's more of a realness to it. It was like the life before, before I was suicidal, was kind of like on this train where I never know where I got on. Like, you know, you go to school, you finish school, you go to college, you get engaged, you get married, then you have children and all these things. And I stopped before I had children. Like I did get married, as far as getting married, and then divorced. But it was like, when did I get on this train? Like, who made these decisions for me? Everything became questionable, and it was kind of like, this is not really happy. And I wanted to be really happy, like really. And it was something that was always calling me inside to feel really happy. And I felt like I was to a certain point, but then it was, even with everything I had ever asked for, I still wasn't feeling happy. And something that I feel like was sold to me in a way of like, yeah, you have all these things, you know, you go to college and you have a job and you have a husband and you have whatever, and you have all these dresses and the diamond rings and all these things, and I had them, and it was like, it didn't make me happy. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? And kept going and going for what really does make me happy. And what a journey that is. But yeah, I felt like this train I got on, and I had no idea how I got on it and how to get off. There's a hummingbird. Thank you, hummingbird, for your medicine today. Wow, I wonder if I can get a video. Wow. Yeah, so that's the first sharing of my journey, and I call this one the doctor's visit. Yeah, the doctor's visit. So anyone out there who's listening to this, very likely you're listening because you want help for yourself, or somebody who is really in pain and suffering and wants another way out of this. Please just keep breathing. I know the story you're telling yourself right now in your head is on a loop, very likely, and that will stop, that will change. What happened you won't change, but how you see what happened you will change, and that takes time. And that is one thing that it does take. It takes time, and you're going to have to breathe and just keep breathing. But you can let go of that story that's in your head, that story that keeps tearing you apart. You can eventually let that go and tell yourself, that's not the ultimate truth. There may be truth in that story, but it is not the ultimate truth and the only truth. And I really believe if I can survive what I did, anybody can. I really believe that. So keep breathing, keep listening to your inner guide. What is right for you? What do you really need? And is it really a solution? Keep asking questions. That's really what I want to encourage, is asking questions. Like, I asked that doctor a lot of questions. I just shared some with you, but they were the biggest ones of like, yeah, how long will I feel like myself, and what kind of effects will these tablets have? And oh yeah, the effects. Listen, like really read the inserts. Oh my god, what is it even called? The effects of these medications, like the possible side effects. Listen to those. And a lot of people even do the research of how many people actually experience those. Almost all, like, they're like, oh yeah, they can give you these tablets which might give you shortness of breath or complete loss of libido and complete loss of desire for life at all, like being more suicidal. This alone is just like red flag. Why would I do that? I'm already this bad. It's not worth it. I don't think it's worth the risk. I think there's a lot more alternative medicines out there, alternative options. Please do your research. You're worth it. Your life is worth it. And I send you so much love, and I believe in you.